What's good, y'all? Marcus Frazier from Teachable Tuesdays here to motivate you, encourage you, and inspire you to be a better you. Thank you for joining me today. Greatly appreciate it. Gotta hurry up and record this intro because I gotta zoom on out of here really soon. Today is a very big day for me. Today, I am taking you on a journey as we go to pass the final exam that I need to take care of in order for me to be professionally, get my tongue tied today, professionally certified as a teacher here in the state of Florida. We take a group of exams called the FTCE exams, and these examinations prepare us or show that we are prepared to be a professional teacher in the state of Florida. Typically, there are 3 exams that you have to take to become a certified teacher. You start off with the GK, which is general knowledge test. You have your writing, your reading, your math portion, and I'm missing a section. I can't think of it right now, but it's 4 sections in total. Then you have your professional, which is kind of like, things that you should know what goes on in the classroom, given base scenarios, what the state of Florida wants you to understand and adopt as far as policies and whatnot. And then you have your subject area exam, which is based on the subject that you teach. So it could be English, it could be math, it could be science, it could be social science, things of that sort of nature, art, agricultural, business. For me, for those who don't know, I'm a high school teacher, so my subject area is going to be the FTCE, not FTCE, I'm sorry. It's going to be ELA grade 6 through 12 because I currently teach seniors. And I've taught middle and high school throughout my entire almost 10 years of teaching. Now, I'm going to get into the particulars in a little bit as far as, pretty much what goes on for the exam, what's to be expected, because I have to get out of here very soon. But this is pretty much my last chance to take it. Well, it's technically not my last chance. Technically, I have one more chance before the school year starts. But if I don't pass it today, that means, unfortunately, I have to go through the hiring process all over again because I'm currently under a temporary. I'll explain what that means in just a little bit. I got to hurry up and get on out of here so that way I can make this bus. So, see you guys in a little bit. All right, so my apologies for kind of cutting it off a little bit abruptly. I had to hurry up and get on out the door. But basically, let me explain some of the concepts of the FTC just in case you are not necessarily familiar with it. So the FTCE or any FTC exam has a certain number of parts to it, except the professional. Professional is one straight part. But the GK, as I mentioned before, has 4 parts, and your subject area may have multiple parts depending on what's given. So, for example, the English 6 through 12 subject area that I'm taking, there are 2 parts to it. You have a multiple choice portion, which is 60 questions, and it takes about an hour and a half to complete. That's the max amount of time they give you. And then you have an essay portion that will give you an hour to complete that. So in order to pass the multiple choice portion of the English 6 through 12 FTCE, you must score a 200 out of 300 points, which that is roughly, if you do it percentage-wise, I think it's about 70%, something like that. Well, a little less than 70%, more like 67%. So you got to pass the exam, 67%. But yeah, basically that's the threshold, 200 points. And then the essay portion, you have to get an 8 out of 12 in order to successfully pass the essay portion. Now, when you take this exam, for those of you who plan on taking it in the future, understand that you can take both parts in one day. The multiple choice portion, you won't get your exact score back right away, but it will tell you if you pass or fail. So before you walk out of that testing venue, you'll know if you pass the multiple choice portion. The essay portion, however, is different. You won't know about the essay portion for about 2.5 weeks, which around that time, you should also get your multiple choice score back if you did fail, so that way you can see how much you failed by. Now, I'm gonna give you a little bit of history real quick as far as me taking this exam and the reason why I'm actually wearing this shirt, which I'll explain that in a second. It says 5 little girls, $1.50, faith in God. Some of y'all might be like, what? If you went to Bethune-Cookman University, then you already know what time it is. But anyways, so the first time I took this exam was when I was an undergrad, and I was, how old was I at the time? 2013, so I was 22? No, I was 21. 21 going on 22. And I didn't pass it. But here's the funny part of that story, right? I didn't pass the exam. I barely tried. I'm not even going to sit here and lie to you. I didn't even try. And the reason being was because I was under a time crunch. I failed my professional. And because I failed my professional, I was just discouraged. And I just had made my mind up that I wasn't going to be teaching. So I took the subject area. I failed it by 10 points. 10 points. By not even trying. So let this be a lesson. Even when you don't feel like doing something, try, because you never know, the results might be positive. If I would have tried, I would have passed, right? So, Lord and behold, years go on. I didn't take the exam the first time. Not the first time. The first time I had my temporary, which I started teaching in 2016, I didn't bother trying to renew it because I just had my mind made up that I wasn't going to go back into teaching. Little short side note story. I left teaching because I just felt like it really wasn't for me anymore, and I wanted to get into higher education. So somehow, Lord and behold, I ended up teaching again back in 2021. I was substituting in 2020. I ended up taking up a long-term sub position at some point during that year and teaching at the school that I currently teach at. So the temporary used to be 3 years in the state of Florida. And once your temporary expires, you have to wait a year to teach unless you renew, or not renew, but turn it into a professional. But you got to wait a year and then you can get another temporary. So in my case, I had to renew my temporary, which it was over a year since I last taught. So it was easy to work out. They extended it from 3 years to 5 years. Unfortunately, me being a procrastinator that I am, I waited till the last minute to take these exams. And there's a certain number of checklist items that you have to get done in order to get a professional certificate. So obviously, you have to pass all the tests, the GK, the professional, the subject area. You have to get a checklist of things done as far as classes, which I've already completed because, believe it or not, even though I have a temporary, one of the reasons why I wasn't professionally certified was really because I met all the requirements for undergrad. I took all my classes. The only thing I didn't do was student teach, which if I would have student taught and passed my tests, I would have been professionally certified by the time I graduated. That was one of the reasons why they pressed us so hard to make sure we passed those teacher certification exams when I was at Cookman, because, that's one less thing you got to worry about. Of course, you have to get professionally certified every 5 years, but if you don't get professionally certified every 5 years, I don't think they necessarily kick you out from being a teacher. Y'all comment below. Let me know if I'm wrong about that. I do think that if you do wait too long to renew, you have to pay a fee. So, and there's a certain number of requirements that you have to do to get professionally recertified. I mean, I'll figure that out in a couple years if I'm still teaching, that is. So, but basically, to wrap this up, I took my subject area in April for the first time. I failed miserably. I did not study, I'm gonna be honest. I took it off of a whim because a friend of mine was like, yo, just see what the test was like and kind of go from there, see where you're at. I got a 150. Not a good score, obviously. I did pass the essay portion the first time around, so that's good. That was one less thing I had to worry about. Studied the second month, probably not as much as I wanted to, but I did study a bit more, obviously, compared to the first time when I didn't study at all. And I scored a 194. So I missed it by 6 points. I was happy, but pissed off at the same time. I was happy because I'm like, yo, I definitely superseded what I wanted to do, because my goal was actually a 175 higher. I feel a lot more confident going in today. I've been studying my butt off, especially these past 2 weeks. I can't tell you how many practice tests I've been taking, how much over the past few days I have utilized my weak spots. And I'm really going into this with the confidence of, you know what? I'm finna pass. I'm finna knock this thing out. Now, here are the scenarios so I can explain what happens. My temporary officially expires as of tomorrow, technically. I say technically because as of the recording of this video, and actually by the time you see this video even, Orange County Public Schools is actually closed for the week. They always have a week off during the summer where everything is shut down, like everything. So, option one, feel like a playoff game. You win and you win, or trying to get in the playoffs, right? So I passed this test. That's it. I'm done. My professional will be waived because they have a special program where if you were like effective or highly effective for X amount of years, they waive your professional fee. So that's some information for anybody who is under a temporary right now that might need to know. If you've been highly effective for 2 or 3 years, you don't have to take your professional. Although I will say, if you're willing to just knock it out for the sake of it, just do it. Why not, right? But if you feel that confident, you want to save $150, go for it. Because these tests they can rack up after a while. So that's option A. I pass, I'm in. Option B, if I don't pass, I still have one more shot before the school year starts. But unfortunately, because my temporary will end, that means I have to go through the rehiring process all over again. Now, here's the good news about that, at the very least. If I have to go through the rehiring process again, then at the very least, I still get to keep the salary that I had. I don't have to start over from ground zero, because a lot of people, they ask that question, well, if I had to get rehired, do I have to start over from ground zero? And as long as you haven't, been out for a long period of time, they'll start you off where you were at. Because remember, like I said before, I've been teaching for almost 10 years here. So I've had a chance to advance above X amount of steps and so on and so forth. Bad news, though, is unfortunately I will have to become a long-term sub until I pass this test, which is not ideal because that is going to be a huge, significant decrease in financial flow for me. And if I'm being very transparent, I'm in the process of getting a lot of different things together so I can make some major moves within the next, I would say 1 to 4 years. Now it's looking like 2 to 4 years. And I just can't afford any slowdown at this moment. So, but I'm going to go with the mindset of we're going to pass this test. Option 2 ain't even going to be an option. Option 1 is the option. I'm just putting it out there so you know what the scenarios are like and so on and so forth. Which brings me to why I'm wearing this shirt. So, as I mentioned before, I went to the great Bethune-Cookman University, Hail Wildcats. You already know, founded by Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune. I'm sorry, the great Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune. And the shirt's kind of like a good luck charm for me because, a lot of me taking these tests, when I took my GK, took my professional, took my subject grade for the first time ever, I did it while I was at Cookman, while I was a English education major. You know what I'm saying? So I'm putting myself in that mindset of, my origins, kind of going back to where I started it all. I know a lot of times y'all see me wearing my UCF shirt. Yeah, go Knights, charge on, all that good stuff. But today, I'm bringing it back to my first love, And my first love has never let me down before. So I'm always grateful for my experience at Cookman. So yeah, we're going to go in. We're going to pass this test. Oh, I almost forgot to mention one more thing. After you pass the test, you have to pay a $75 fee to become officially certified with your professional certificate and all that good stuff. And then after that, they process everything through. And I don't think I get my professional right away. From what I've been told, it takes a couple months for you to officially have it. But, whoa, what in the world? Okay. Anyways, they'll officially have it in the system to where everything is clear. So let me hurry up and get to the stop. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys about some more stuff before we get to the testing site. So today's journey, I got 3 buses to catch. I think it's been a long time since I've had to catch 3 buses anywhere in Orlando. The test begins at 9:30. And I think I get to the testing site like around 8:40. So I'll be there early. So I wonder if they'll let me test early. It'd be nice. So this is the downtown Link Central Station. I've talked about this in a couple of videos. This is where, I don't think all the buses, but the majority of the buses that run along this part of Orange County pretty much convene at. That's the 104. That's the bus that takes me to downtown and also takes me home. We got a couple buses here. I'll probably do like a more in-depth video in the future. But I actually found out, hey, there goes the awesome bus driver. Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. I didn't realize I needed this in the last minute. So I got a transfer. The guy, he knows me by now to the point where I asked for a transfer. So basically, if you are a UCF student, and I've said this time and time again on social media, you can actually get a transfer, and you can also use your UCF ID to get on the bus for free. So for any of my UCF Valencia students, you can do that. You can also use a transfer to get a transfer for the Sunrail. I didn't realize I had to catch the Sunrail until literally maybe 5 minutes ago. I thought I had to catch 3 buses, but this is the Sunrail station right here. I've talked about this a lot in my videos. This station pretty much goes from as south as Point Siena, aka the middle of nowhere, that way, and as north as DeLand, which is Volusia County. So we're gonna talk about that in a later video because I have a surprise for y'all in a couple videos from now. I don't know why I put the transfer for Meadowwoods. The transfer is supposed to be for Sand Lake, but I mean, it's a stop before, so I don't think it's gonna make a difference. But I guess I'm on autopilot. I'm so used to putting it in for Meadowwoods like I'm going to work. I wasn't planning on giving you guys commentary on the Sunrail today, I promise, but I mean, look, since we're here, there's a little bit of history behind, there's some Easter eggs that we teaching. So this is the Sand Lake location. When I first moved to Orlando almost 10 years ago, which again, doing a 10-year video coming up very soon, this was the furthest it went out, actually. This is before it ended up extending to Meadowwoods, Kissimmee, and Point Siena. But yeah, this was around 2016. Typically when I would go to work at the middle school that I work at, which is not too far from the high school that I work at currently, I would have to get off at Sand Lake and then come out here and catch the 18 to get to work. And then what would happen is that where the Meadowwood Sunrail station is at, there was always been like a bus loop there. And I would get off at that bus loop and then walk to the school from there because there were no bus routes along that route. So it's very interesting how almost 10 years later, I'm getting off here, not catching the 18, not catching the 18. The testing site is in the other direction. But I don't know, today's the day of a lot of things coming full circle. Hopefully that's a sign of good things to come. All right, so we're here. I'm actually here early. This is the building right here, where all will be determined. So basically, I got here early. As to recording this part of the video, it is like 8:46 a.m. My test doesn't start till 9:30. I went inside. They said that they don't have any seats available, so they told me to come back at 9:15, which is cool. I just figured, hey, if I got here early, maybe I'd be able to start early. You could probably tell I'm a little anxious and trying to calm myself down. I prayed. I gave it to God. I've been studying. I've been putting work in. I encouraged myself. Still got a little bit of anxiety. I struggle with test anxiety. So a lot of times before I take a test, I have to meditate, calm myself. So I'm kind of glad that I'm outside. Gives me a chance to calm myself down a little bit before my exam. I'm excited. I think at this point, I'm just really ready to get over it. I was talking to my mom this morning, and I was just telling her, I told my mentor the same thing last night. I'm just ready for this test to be done. You know, like this is literally the last thing that I have to do to be professionally certified. Like I've taken care of business. I've turned in all my documents I need to turn in. There was so much rigmarole and running around that I had to do within the past few months to kind of get things locked in. And, you know, at this point, everything is everything. I will say this, for my teachers or upcoming teachers of any state, regardless if you're in Florida, California, New York, Maryland, Georgia, South Carolina, wherever. Every state has its own certification exam. And if there's one thing I will caution you, is to never wait till the last minute. Don't wait till the last minute to take these exams. These exams can be tough. And if you're someone like me who's not like a very good test taker, it can be a struggle. So this is definitely a big lesson to me. Shoot, my mentor even told me last night, he said, hey, if you ever in your life wait to take one of these exams again, I'm going to kick your butt. Promise you I'm going to kick your butt. So yeah, don't do that, y'all. Don't wait till the last minute. Give yourself ample time. If you're currently an undergrad student and you're looking to become an education major, knock out these tests before. Granted, some education programs will allow you to graduate without passing the certification exam. They'll just warn you that you have to get a temporary. If you can do it while you're in school, do it. If you don't do it by the time you graduate, do it immediately after. If you have a temporary for X amount of years, every state is different. For the state of Florida, it's 5 years. Try to get everything done within those first 2 years. That way, number one, you're not cramming stuff in the last minute. And number two, you're not spending as much money paying for things over and over again just in case you end up not successfully passing an exam. Because if you think about it, these exams are expensive. Like the exam I'm taking right now, it's only $75, but that's mainly because I passed the essay portion. Had I not passed the essay portion, it would have been $150. So in total, in 3 months, I've spent $300 on this exam. That $300 could have went towards a bill or something I wanted to do for fun. So yeah, just keep that in mind. But we're going to end it here, and next time you see me, we'll see the results of the exam. All right, so the exam is done. I have not looked at my score yet. I'm nervous. I ain't gonna lie. I feel like I could be wrong. I'm waiting till I get to the bus stop to look at it. But I feel like I didn't do too well. There were a lot of questions that I got stumped on with this one. And I'm not gonna lie, I kind of freaked out at the last minute, and I did like, I changed like 3 answers at the last minute, which I probably shouldn't have, because they typically say, once you have an answer, don't change it. So, when we get to the bus stop, we're gonna do the big reveal. I hope I passed, because if not, it's about to be a very interesting situation going into July.
Especially true love. I think that's especially true about